Is that better? Can you hear me now? Oh my gosh, I did it again. Twice in a row. This is the second time. You know what? This is why I don't do new scenes. You know, it's like, come on now. Can I get a break? I did this yesterday and I did it again today. Holy shit. Y'all can hear me now, right?
You had a pretty good intro, too.
I know, man. I was like rolling. I was like, hey, fuck. Okay. Well, it turns out this video is going to end up being a lot like yesterday's, where I probably cut out the beginning and then repost it later. But hey, guys, welcome to the stream. This is Mav, and I am joined by Psychonauts and 3-Bit for part 2 of our Halo Infinite discussion, where we broke down a bunch of things yesterday. We got into some details on this controversy. Controversy. I tried to make the same joke as I did earlier when I was quiet, but it didn't work out the same way. And this stuff that was out there that, hey, we broke down in that video yesterday, and hey, it turns out that we got a lot of stuff right. We got a little bit wrong. And I wanted to give a shout out to Eric Lynn, the gentleman that actually had the video that started all this controversy in the first place, was kind enough to reply to an email. Potentially in the future, we may be able to get him on for an interview to talk about his art and stuff like that. So I'm excited about that possibility. So thank you to him. The information that was out there, like we had said, was taken out of context. Also, we didn't know when we went live yesterday, we did say that, hey, the guy that has quoted this has said he tried to translate it. So we were taking everything in that as we don't 100% know if it's accurate, right? But we had to assume, based on attacking the negativity that was out there, that it was accurate. So that way we can pinpoint everything that's in there and break it down. So that's what we did. So I want to officially, one thing, offer this man an apology from myself, because he's not a disgruntled employee like a lot of people have been led to believe. In fact, he was just trying to make a video to encourage people to go for their dreams and art direction in the gaming industry and become an artist and to go for your dreams. And that was the point of his video, that everything was cut from, and we were only translated specific,
like, go for your dreams,
sections.
but here are the hard bits of it.
Right.
And then they were like, okay, screw the dream part, let me just take that bit out of context. That happens a lot.
So context is a very important thing, and if you have a big thing and you only take pieces away from it, and you can paint them in whatever light that you see. Now, even with the excerpts that were pointed out, if you watch the video we had yesterday, there wasn't anything really bad even in what was taken out of there, except for people's opinions on the couple of things they tried to push as negatives, and it spread like wildfire throughout the community. There was articles written about it that started painting Halo Infinite in negative light. There was one particular person that is using this to potentially push the agenda that they have of their own personal book that is coming out in a few days. That is a theory that I have personally, because, hey, guess what? They pretty much said it themselves that they have a project coming that pretty much highlights the stuff that this was being said in this post. So the point of this today is to clarify, because he has released another video basically saying, hey, this has caused him a lot of stress the last couple days. He's been having panic attacks. He is had stress, worried about the future potential with future clients, the future with three potentially with possible work, and other things. That he works with certain affinity right now, right? So they are very closely related with Halo. So as a guy that's in the industry, all of a sudden his words are taken away, and now he's worried that he thinks he has the worry that people will think he's trying to smear them, and that's not a good look if you're looking for a job in the gaming industry, and that's not what his intentions
Gaming industry
were.
is very small and very easy to get blacklisted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope that people that potentially heard this see this second video where he actually has a voice over with English for us. So we completely get the context of where he's coming from.
Yes.
And he goes into things that were very important because one thing that's been picked from these original statements was where somebody said, "Oh, crunch confirmed," right? When he said that people work late on the job, right? And hey, guess what? That's pretty normal. And what he was saying is like that's their choice to do that. They're not being forced to. It's not crunch, right? So potentially somebody going to be using these things in a book or whatever. I'm not sure exactly what is all going to be in said book or article that people are working on involving 343. But to share this post without any context or follow through on actual journalism work when you have a big platform, to me is a potentially irresponsible mistake, which Mr. Lin as well has also said in the public about these other articles that are painting things in negative lights. He has not been contacted by any of these journalists or articles as of the time that he posted that video to actually clarify what his statements were. In fact, guess what? It was very easy for me to look him up today and send him an email, and he responded to me within 10 minutes.
Wow.
So, guys, this man is not very hard to get a hold of. It was a simple Google search. If these reporters were trying to actually do some research and figure out what's actually going on there, it would have been very helpful for them to actually ask the man himself, I would think. You have any... you weren't able to join us yesterday, 3, but do you have any more thoughts on this?
Some of my thoughts were in the Ultimate stream, but it was I was like trying to cut it down a little bit. But I think based on basically what I was just saying on my Twitter is that cut content is a part of game development, and they were very much taking it out of context. People in the community just having this worry of like, oh no, cut content, and it's just every game has cut content was pretty much my stance on it. And a lot of what he was saying, like the other parts were being sort of ignored. Like he was saying like, oh, it's gonna be a great game, and that part was kind of being ignored even by Schreier. It seemed like Schreier was just pinpointing the bad parts of what he was saying to promote his book or whatever. But it's just really unfortunate that that like negativity spreads way faster than any positivity, just in the gaming media and just in general. It just you know, it's a part of I guess just the way we talk on social media. It's a lot easier for negativity to spread around than positivity. And also I think a lot of things get lost in text, and not to mention like when you're trying to say something in text format, sometimes it's not always translated the best. And I'm pretty sure that's what happened here. And yeah, it sucks because the people in the community, like I don't think they just seen it as we did, like me, Mav, and Psycho. I think even on the Xbox side of things, I think a lot of people took what he said and like had and are having this worry about the game's development because of what he was saying. Like, oh, it's not going to be a masterpiece is what they took out of it. And not only is it not going to be a masterpiece, but they cut content out of the game. And they took those two things and sort of ran with it on all these different shows and also like different posts. I'm just like, come on, guys. Like, come on. Like, based on what I've been seeing with the pictures and Halo Infinite, like I'm not that worried. And if I were to base it off of 343's previous games, like Halo 4 was pretty great, Halo 5 was like a mixed bag, and I'm hoping they could combine with what they did with Halo 4's story and Halo 5's like gameplay in a way. Was pretty strong despite it changing too much. I'm hoping they could blend all that together, and it seems like they're listening to the community with all their constant devlogs and all that. But that's not even my problem. My problem is essentially people taking things out of context and running with this worry, like, oh no. And I get it. I get where it's coming from, but at the same time, cutting content from a game is it's in every single game. It's in every single movie you see. You are never seeing the full picture of something, you know. Sometimes it's just better to cut content for the flow of a game. Maybe it flows better if you cut content for that, or maybe they're realizing like, hey, this bit of the game, yes, it's fun to play, but maybe like it doesn't fit in the overall picture. You never know why they cut content for a game. There's a million reasons why you would cut content for a game.
That goes back to
it's in everything.
Creating games forever. Like they can't always get everything they wanted to in the game and their original vision, right? For people to take that part specifically and say this is bad was it's kind of like, why you say it's bad, but why is cutting content bad? Because it happens in everything. It's part of the editing process, it's part of the creation process. Like,
and it's like the developers, and I said this on Xbox Ultimate, but like developers, they don't want you to really know that stuff, because as a consumer and as a gamer, you're just going to want the cut content. You're not worried about the content that's actually in the game. You're like, oh, I want that thing I can't have. And that's why, like in game development, there's certain things they're not going to want to tell you, because you're just going to want that thing rather than what they're giving to you as a polished experience. Because I think some gamers have this weird attention span with how they want stuff, you know. But
yeah,
it's all a part of the process. Is how people should look at it, and not worry so much. Just wait, be patient. I think it's bad having a message where Halo Infinite's gonna fail. It's gonna fail leading up to the release, because the game we get, it may end up being great, but people will always have that sort of message in the back of their mind, and that will affect how they see the game. And it's that's what I think. Anyways, I think people are very hive-minded is a word. I think if there's like a review or something, and they see like, oh, it's only like a 8 or 7, I don't want it, you know. And that can really affect things, and it's all because of like one ripple effect. That's literally how it starts. It's like an article like that, and people take it out of context, and it stays in people's brains all the way up until the release.
It's like an echo chamber.
Yep, exactly.
One person says something, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, that's it."
Yeah, exactly.
how damaging or how upsetting is this kind of stuff sometimes from the actual devs who are passionate and are there working on the game, when you see like your work currently kind of thrown under the bus, so to speak, with like some kind of false negatives that get thrown out there, and it kind of spreads like wildfire, right? Like you're sitting there knowing you got this game coming out in a few months, right? And all of a sudden something comes out and it's like, what is everybody even talking about? You know what I mean? Like where is all this negativity coming from? We just had everybody excited because of all this awesome stuff that we've been doing and showing them with these Halo Waypoint updates. And then the other thing comes out, right? When again, if you go look at the video we had yesterday, where everybody ignored all the positives about like the engine stuff.
They did the same thing with the April Fool's article.
Yeah,
which I was
right.
saying,
That
like,
spread
when April
instantly.
Fool's came out, when they said Halo Infinite was going to be delayed for April Fool's, those articles jumped on it like immediately.
Yeah.
And that just goes to show you like how much they want this game to like fail in a way, and they're just waiting for that little that little article. Jason Schreier, he's definitely waiting. he's waiting for that little article.
Oh
but
yeah, to go to reset era for this kind of post was
Yeah.
kind of like it's
It's
kind of
disheartening.
Stretching.
It's disheartening as a developer because like Husk was saying it on our Xbox Ultimate the other day, where basically it sucks as a developer, but when you're creating something for like years on end, it's like that's yours until you release it into the world. So that's when it gets scary. Like everything you're working on, you've thought about it for hours, hundreds of hours. You've thought about like maybe placing this rock here because the player will go around the corner and it'll encourage the player to do X, Y, and Z. So developers, they think about this stuff for hours and hours, and then they release it to you, the consumer, and then just to see like you worked hundreds of hours on this thing and you release it, and then the first comment you see is sucks, trash. You know, the first one was better. You know, that can be the toxic side of the gaming community. But you also have to think about like Twitter and even YouTube is a smaller portion of like it's like the people who are voicing those things are very loud, and unfortunately they're a majority of what negativity message that usually brings. But there are people who really enjoy it. They're just not as loud about it. They're just like, oh, I really like this game, this is really cool. You just don't hear them as loud as the negative, like trash Fortnite kids, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's disheartening as a developer to go through that, but it's unfortunately just a part of the development cycle. Like you work on something for a while, for years, and then you release it, and it's no longer yours once you release it out into the world. It is someone else. It is the gamers, it's consumers. You open it up to criticism. So
hey, thank you Stubbs for the $1 super sticker with the drooly face. That thing made me chuckle a little bit. Yeah, so like this is a thing that happened, right? So for a lot of people, the other side of this is they're never going to see this like explanation video. They're never going to see an explanation from the people that were all of a sudden concerned. They're never going to see any of these things, and all they're left with is that moment in time, and it leaves an imprint in the brain, right? Of like, oh yeah, there's crunch at 343 right now. There's all this other stuff. But then originally, the original even thing that was put out there said, you know, hey, the engine is like, it has all these features now that wasn't in there when that gameplay demo came out. The workflow is actually improved since they had all those problems before, right? There's a bigger, richer gameplay. The story is improved. There's so many positives that you can take from this if you're a Halo fan, right? And if you're excited for this game and like take away these takeaways that I haven't heard anybody mention, right? And there's no impression left from that stuff. The only impression left is the negative, right? And why now this goes into like a human psyche thing, maybe. Like, why is it that it's so easy for negative information, even if it's not negative, to be painted in a negative light, and then also to spread so easily when there's other useful positive information in the same thing, when you can actually maybe even say it outweighs the negative? That's completely overlooked and not even mentioned. Is that why there's so many negative articles about everything? Because that's what the audience wants, right? Like, it's just an unfortunate thing And I don't know if it's anything anybody can do about it, because I saw a lot of things from people that I respect and like that were all of a sudden making similar posts and stuff and concerned. And I think it's just human nature.
I was saying that, like,
you know,
oh my dog. I think a lot of them were doing that to appear not as biased or whatever, but I don't even think it's about that. I think it literally is about like how fast negativity can spread, and also taking things out of context, because that's not what he was saying. If you were like to go back and look at what he was kind of saying, they just kind of took the bits. Oh my gosh, my dog. Took the bits of like, hey, I don't think it's gonna be a masterpiece. They took that bit, and like that's what the content creators were like worried about. They're like, oh my gosh, look, he said it's not gonna be a masterpiece. Like, right. Like really?
Yeah. Like what we said yesterday is like, what creator says that about their own work or anything that they worked on? First off, and second off, is this again is one person's opinion on a team of thousands, right? And
but his take with the whole thing with it's not going to be a masterpiece was really with today's video that I watched.
Yeah,
he said the reason why he said that it's not going to be a masterpiece,
set expectations,
because he doesn't want to set that expectations so high that if it's not there, then people have a negative light at it. So that's what he was trying to say, and people took that out of context and ran with it, and we had what we had from Reset.
Yeah, and so they take this like, don't expect like something that's going to be like this masterpiece, right? Like, but it has bigger gameplay, richer gameplay, and all this stuff. Like, but when you take that and you rephrase it and like you quote it and you say it in a way like, this is not going to be a masterpiece.
Yeah.
Right? It's like that's what some people hear in their head, right? This is not going to be a masterpiece. Don't expect it. Don't get excited, guys. Come on now. What are you doing getting excited for this? And that's not what this is. That's not what this was. I think 3-Bit got eaten by his dogs. He said if he pops out randomly, it's because his dogs have eaten him, and he'll maybe come back when he gets shot out. But as far as it's like Pong was saying last night on Xbox Ultimate, like people need to relax and stop the like concern about stuff necessarily when it's nothing there that's actually viable. Now I understand actual criticism. I understand criticism when there's something tangible and real to criticize. News that actually breaks from one of these companies, some game that's monetizing things in an absolutely horrible way. There's a lot of different things we can criticize and critique, but from just an unfinished game that's in development that we've only seen one glimpse of and only had positive things from the community over a period of time, to pick apart something so random like this and it spread like that is just so interesting to me. You know what I mean? It's like it's kind of like I said before, it's like a human psyche thing in a way. And it's I think Halo's so big and so important and so talked about that it can't escape this. It can't escape this anymore. It's like it's like Star Wars, or like everybody hates the new Star Wars movies, right? Except for the people that enjoy them. you know what I mean? It's like Star Wars fans, it's like Halo is so big, it just can't escape the criticism now because it's so popular. I remember, like on Living Split Screen today, they were doing a graphic where they had like all these game franchises of all time, and it was like I think one of the top one that's like a console exclusive like shooter, right? Like and guess what, guys, when Halo Infinite comes out, that value of Halo is going to go through the roof, because it's going to be on PC at the same time. It's going to be free to play on the multiplayer side. It's going to be on consoles. It's going to be in Game Pass. You're going to have access to it on xCloud and all that stuff. So it's just a huge franchise, and maybe that's part of it. It's talked about so much.
Mm-hmm. It is. I mean, Halo has always been so. Going back, look how big Halo 2 was when that came out. Then look at Halo 3. The lines, the news stations, everybody were covering the launch of fucking Halo. That's how Halo is huge in the gaming industry.
Yeah,
people don't want to admit it.
The launches for like the previous Halos.
Yeah, it's been huge. You know, when 343 took over, there wasn't that much because we didn't know what 343 was going to bring with Halo 4 and 5, or, you know, at the time. So we knew what Bungie did. So when this game is going to always have criticism because of how big it is, and it's always going to be in the limelight. It always will be, because it's that iconic game that and no one can deny that at all. They just can't. And people that do, they just, I don't know, they just don't want to believe it. And it is what it is.
Well, and it's okay not to like Halo, right?
No,
like, we're and that's the one thing. Like, I think some people think when like we, especially me, because I get some interesting comments sometimes from people like you don't have to act like you love everything just because, you know, like it's because I do love it. I mean, Halo is personally, video games is my favorite hobby. It's my like, besides my family, right? It's my like number one passion of how I like to spend my time. It's what I enjoy the most, right?
Yeah.
And Halo is the epitome of that for me. Halo is number one in that category. It holds the biggest place in my heart in video games, right? And so I am going to talk about it very passionately when I talk about it. It's probably going to come through because I do love it, right? And some people can take that as like, I think everybody has to love Halo or something because I'm saying how amazing it's going to be. And,
no, that's not what we're saying at all.
But exactly, it's okay to criticize normal criticism, but things like this is not normal criticism. Things like this is not at all. And Halo has a problem with people in general having this like attack mode against it for some reason, right? And that's a lot of it is not substantial or not substantiated. I mean, but some of it is. So there's legitimate criticisms. I have my own criticisms of Halo 5 and Halo 4 and Halo 3, Halo 2, Halo 1, all of them, right? And you can have criticisms and stuff like that and still enjoy things and think it's a masterpiece. But like, to have like the criticisms that came out from something so vague and random as that it's not good for gaming. It's not good for journalism. It's not good for the community, right? And that's where I was coming from yesterday with the video, and also with my tweets the last couple of days.
Yeah, I think most of us at an Ultimate, we're just I think we're very different in the sense where I just have a tolerance level. Like, I will play anything, right? And I just want to have a good time with like friends, and like Halo is like very close to me as a creator. And I think I'm in the place of my life where if there's anything negative, then I'm just not gonna message about it unless it like unless someone else is bothering someone else I like. I just don't comment on it. And if it's not something I'm passionate about or whatever, then I just sort of step back from it. Like, okay, I'm just not interested in it. But I know people out there who are passionate about X, Y, and Z. And like Mav was saying, it's fine to be it's fine to critique. You know, I think critiquing is a way to make things better, for sure. I think it creates this sort of discourse where developers and gamers are sort of on an equal level, as they should be. But there's also a point where people have to realize where you're not critiquing something by saying something sucks, and you also have to think about what message are you bringing to people when you're just taking bits out of what someone is saying, who's basically trying to promote people to go into the industry, and he's very passionate about being a skybox artist and his artwork, and he's being passionate about those things and trying to be realistic, like, hey, there are things that people might not like about the gaming industry, but overall I think this is what I do like about it. And people just take the bits where, like, oh, he said this game is trash. Let's just say that's not what he said, but I'm just saying, where people take the bits of context of where he's saying this game's not gonna be a masterpiece, and he run with that rather than look at it from the whole picture, because this is one of those things where you look at the whole picture of what he was saying. It's just unfortunate, like that. Yeah. But that's social media to me. Like, I think Twitter and well, we'll just say Twitter, I don't think it's the best form of communication, and I also think there's just certain things on social media that aren't the best forms of communication, because things get lost in context with words sometimes. But you know, I think Halo's going to be great. I'm optimistic about it, but if it's not, hey, then it's not. But it's always good to critique something, but just remember that things also always have a way of turning to be naturally negative, because negative is the primary thing, unfortunately, with games coming out nowadays. Like, rather than praise things, the first thing on people's minds is like you're proving them wrong, why they shouldn't play it, rather than like celebrate it for what it is.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, I just wanted to say, you know, really just put on, like, say I'm sorry to Eric Lynn, because yesterday I kind of did, you know, say that he was disgruntled, and after watching the video today, he wasn't disgruntled. He was very passionate at what, you know, and genuine. I mean, the guy was upset and hurt by what was put out there and misinterpreting what he was saying, taking things out of context. You know, because he even said, like, his last day at 343, he was almost in tears. So that he wasn't a disgruntled employee at all, and he was a very passionate person. He was just putting out a video to tell younger artists, hey, if you want to get into this industry, go for it. That was the whole thing with this video. And somehow they took crunch and the Halo is not going to be a masterpiece out of what he was, out of the 15-minute video. It's insane. It's crazy. You know, if you guys have not watched it, I'll put it out on Twitter, and you guys watch this new video, and it's you can see it in his eyes and how he's talking, that he was genuinely hurt by what was said, and taking his comments out of context. It's sad that, you know, the some people in the community, you know, ran with this, and, you know, for me, I didn't like it.
Yeah,
that they did that to him.
And I'm just gonna sort of pinpoint on what Victor is saying. He says, I think some of the Halo criticism is justified. Halo defined first-person shooters and brought it into the limelight, but under 343, it's lost its way. This conversation has nothing to do with that. That's what we're trying to say. Like, it has nothing to do with, like, it's not criticism. But that's what we're trying to get people to understand. Like, when you're just spreading like negativity about something that's not even like, it's not even a topic, that's what we're talking about. Like, these people are spreading this worry and negativity. That's not criticism. I would say, like, yes, it's criticism to say like Bungie games are better than, like, there's things that Bungie has done with the Halo franchise that is better than 343, and you could pinpoint what X, Y, and Z. That's criticism to me. Like, you go in and you're like, okay, I like the way Bungie told the story with how Master Chief, like from Halo 1 to 3, like how they built up all the characters, Guilty Spark, Sergeant Johnson, all these different characters, and I like how they wrapped it up by Halo Reach. And you could argue with 343 is the whole Promethean storylines I didn't like. I'm only fighting robots. I get that. And you could pinpoint why you might like X, Y, and Z better. To me, that is criticism when you're comparing and going into detail of what makes Halo a Halo, because Halo is very unique, right? It's not just like a standard shooter. It's this weird blend of like open environments and it's a sandbox essentially, where they give you this playground to play in and campaign, and you kind of just go where you want. and you're figuring out different ways to approach these same objectives. Like, every time I play a Halo campaign mission on, like, let's say Reach or something, it's like different every single time I play it, just because of how you can approach things. That's why Halo is very unique. Now 343, I can get people's criticisms of 343 is where they are making the Halo more like other games, like a Call of Duty with like the loadouts or something like that. That is the criticism bit. What's happening here isn't that. It isn't you basically saying it's pretty much just taking a developer's word out of context and spreading worry, like, oh, see, this is confirming my own inner thoughts of what this game's going to eventually be. You know, I don't think that's criticism. Like, I think 343 also has a very hard job with Halo Infinite, almost an impossible job. I would not envy, because of the fact that like Halo 5 to me is like better than a lot of shooters out there, but because it's Halo, I look at it under a different lens, right? Like, I think what's in Halo 5 is actually fantastic. However, because it's Halo, it's held to this weird different standard. And like Halo 4, for example, when it first came out, like, you play it now, I think it's fantastic. But when it first came out, a lot of people was not receiving it very well because it's just very different, and people don't like different and new things. That's a whole other conversation, but that's it's not critique if you're spreading worry about what a developer is saying and only taking the bit that fits your message, you know. So
yeah, that's extremely well said, dude. 100%.
Yeah.
Hit the nail on the head with that stuff, because there is legitimate criticism you can have
Facts.
over even what we've seen over Halo Infinite. If you want to go into like the gameplay demo that we just played on here, right? There was legitimate criticism from people over the aesthetics of that with the graphics, and that was addressed also by Eric Lynn in that video, where basically he confirmed what a lot of people said, where the engine wasn't complete yet and there was features missing, which was also already not news because that had been alluded to before. So, but there's legitimate criticism. You could have criticism over the way the guns feel. You could have criticism like I have. I don't like fighting the Prometheans. I don't find it fun. I don't find them as a fun enemy, right? You can have criticism that I don't like what they did with Cortana and making her the enemy in Halo 5, where you have this conflicted relationship all of a sudden, and it took a lot of the joy out of the game for me personally, having that relationship become different, where it took one of the best things about Halo and flipped it. That you can have a criticism about that, but to have this is not criticism what was happening, because it was not actually based on anything other than out of context words that were only taken a few pieces of and flipped, to fit narratives.
Their narrative.
So that's basically where we're coming from. I have lots of criticisms over Halo, even though I love it, right? It's I think if you love something so much, like what Pong was saying yesterday, hey, a lot of the criticism comes from a place of love because they want it to be so great, right? But to grab onto this is what I had the problem with, as like it's tangible.
Yeah.
Because there was nothing critical that was tangible that was said by this man, and it's nothing that should have concerned anybody. And in fact, what I argued yesterday, and what my whole point of the video yesterday was, to focus on the positives of what he said. And there's a lot more positives on what he said than there was negatives, even on the pieces that were pointed out. So
his whole video was positive with just with his opinion on a couple things. That's all. And then they took those couple things and ran with it on this Reset Era post. And that's what it's just still mind-boggling that people in the industry took it to post it, to make it their narrative for something that they're about to release, because it fits my narrative, so I'm gonna post
people
it.
Wonder why people just developers just don't say anything at all.
Exactly.
That's
exactly.
NDAs exist it's not just for like releasing gameplay details, it's to fit the marketing for these games, because the one person accidentally saying the wrong thing in the wrong way can completely spread like wildfire, right? So Psychonauts, like, did you have any other takeaways from the video he released today, like, that stood out to you?
Other than he was genuinely upset by how everything was taken out of context. I mean, that's the biggest thing that I took from it. That he was, the guy was genuinely upset. Like you could hear it and feel his emotions talking about it. It's almost like, it's like, why am I even talking about this? Because there was nothing there.
Yeah.
At all. I mean, the very beginning of the video, he's staring off in the distance, like, okay, I'm about to, here we go. Because why was this a topic? And he just didn't like news sources taking things from the Reset Era and trying to make it factual and to spin it, and he was just hurt by this, and because he doesn't want to be, pretty much, he doesn't want to have a bad name pictured in the industry as, he's a disgruntled employee, which he truly was not at all. So
the other thing was that he was, one of the things that people took away from this is, where I think some people that tweeted this out originally were going with this, is about crunch as well.
Yeah. And there was no crunch.
He basically was saying that, hey, this is like, people's choice and working on their own time of what they
Yeah.
wanted to do, and they're putting a lot of passion and effort, and it's long nights and hours to do a job like this and stuff like that. And if you are, and that's what a lot of their choices were.
But you don't see that
any,
as a tagline. Like,
no,
a interesting tagline to me would be like, "Wow, developers get to choose their own crunch." You know?
right?
Yeah.
But that doesn't make the headline for
it doesn't get the
resetting.
click. It doesn't get the clicks. Like he even said, it doesn't get the clicks. He's like, I was so zoned into doing my work that I forgot to take a lunch. And that happens. I mean, 3-bit, you probably have done it yourself. I mean, I know I did.
Yep.
When I worked at the steel factory, when
I've
I
done
was
it too,
in,
man.
I was in my freaking zone. I was like just wanting to get this job done, and then
Yep.
I'm like, oh crap! I'm like, I just missed my break.
Yeah,
because I was in the zone.
And if you're
It
passionate about it
happens.
too, like
We're
if you're passionate
human.
about it,
Yeah, exactly.
we're human. Yeah.
It used to be a big problem with me actually, where I would get, and Kate would get so pissed off at me because I would like leave, or when this is when it's like really busy with my job, right? I would leave at like 7 to 8 in the morning or whatever, and then I wouldn't get home till like 7, 8 at night, and I always planned in between appointments or meetings to stop in somewhere in between and grab something to eat, but just I'm constantly running late to each thing I have to be at, and I plan on, okay, I'm just gonna stop at whatever I can see, on my way, but then there's just nothing there. Right? So I end up not eating anything for the entire day. And then I get home and I have a headache, and I'm a mess and I'm starving, and then she's like, you didn't eat? You got to make time to freaking eat, dude. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I tried to. I tried to. It used to be a problem. That's human nature when you get busy and
Yes.
And it doesn't even necessarily what industry you're in. Now, if you're forced to do it, that's the thing. And I think retail work and specifically is forced crazy overtime a lot that they don't get paid enough for as well, like retail managers and stuff like that. So it's not just a video game industry exclusive problem.
No, it's everywhere. It's in the movie industry. It's kind of everywhere.
That doesn't make it
work.
Okay.
It's just work.
Right. It doesn't make it okay, but this is not even what was happening in this situation. This is not what his comments were implying whatsoever. This was taken completely out of context in that feed, and it said crunch confirmed ? Is what somebody put on there with the frowny face. Like, it's just
like,
sad.
what do you think the
that
intention of saying that is?
I don't know, man.
The intention is to spread negativity, but like if there was crunch, like then okay, like that's probably bad. But at the same time, it's just to me, like maybe it's just because me as a developer, I've seen, like, I've had to do crunch. I think it's great when developers, like the new thing with certain studios is they are like, here, take your break, like stop working and X, Y, and Z. But sometimes developers just get so into their work, you forget to take a break, or you just like really in the zone. And that's kind of what he was saying in the article, if I'm not wrong. Psycho, right?
Yeah, he was in the zone, and that's with everybody at 343. There's no crunch at 343. He said people chose when they, to work extra hours to actually, like really when they're really into their work, they work longer, and that's their choice. It wasn't 343 saying you have to do it. It's not like what we see at freaking Naughty Dogs where there was crunch, or when
that was the worst.
At CD Project Red where they said, hey, there's crunch. Those were put out there that they
even
had
that
to
one
do it.
was an elected thing. Like they put like out a vote to like the employees, right? Yeah, at CD
Yeah.
Projekt Red.
That Naughty Dog situation was really
Naughty Dogs was forced. Naughty Dogs was forced.
Right.
It was forced, but it was also like how they hired people, to me, was very like, that's the worst thing that can happen in the gaming industry, where you just hire a contractor to do the work, and then they don't get any benefits, they don't get anything, they're forced to crunch to even make sure that like they get the money from the contracting. and then they're kicked out as soon as the game is done. Like that kind of,
Yeah,
that's the worst to me.
yeah, and that's the thing, and that's why I think he, and because that was the very last thing. It's like 8 minutes and 31 seconds into the video. That's pretty much the last thing he wanted to talk about, because that is what made him the most upset, was people saying there was crunch at 343, which was pretty much a lie. There is no crunch at 343. But again, the people trying to spin their narrative to make out, trying to make anything, 343 Xbox just in the bad light. And and he was just he didn't like it, and he got upset. And that's pretty much why he made this video.
Yeah.
To set the record straight, because for we as the people have to put it out there, and with this video, and that's why we're making this video, to put it out there that, hey, you know what, let's talk about this, because what we saw with Jason and what Reset Era put out there, it's not true. So he came out and he had his video, and like what Mav said, is this going to get out into the mass media? Is it going to go out there to the public? Probably not. But that's why we're talking about it.
Yeah, and maybe it feels like in certain ways maybe we're an anomaly in this situation, where we're seeing it from a different point of view, because I've seen a lot of worry, like, but to me it's not that serious. Like, wait till you see more to be worried about, rather than pick apart a few words out of, like, he said a bunch of different positive stuff about it, and he's like, oh yeah, but one more thing, and then he says like one negative thing, and then people are like, see, look,
it's not a masterpiece.
It's not a masterpiece. See,
it is crunch.
I'm never gonna say my work is a masterpiece, unless I'm joking about it. Anyways, like if I'm developing something.
Well, there's one person that says their stuff is the masterpiece.
Yeah,
that's Neil Druckmann.
Well, Joseph Fares too.
That's it.
The It Takes Two guy, which It Takes Two is a masterpiece. I'll say that right now. So he's right. But you remember him like on the Game Awards? He's like, "This is gonna be the best fucking game you've ever fucking played."
I mean, he was right. That's my game of the year. So he's onto something. Maybe they need to start calling things masterpieces.
Well, he said that. He said that about Away.
Ghost of Tsushima was a masterpiece, right? I don't care. Fight me.
Ghost of Tsushima to me was pretty much I could pick apart little things, but
there were things, but it was so much.
It was amazing.
I enjoyed it.
It was amazing. It was my game of the year last year, for sure.
It should have won game of the year. To me, it should have won game of the year, but that's my opinion. See, we're allowed to have opinions.
Yeah.
Yeah, but maybe we're an anomaly in the situation, but we just say, play games, be positive, be kind to each other, don't be worried. Wait for E3 if you're so concerned about Halo Infinite's state. Craig is no longer there. He has a little beard now and some more textures, so he'll be okay.
Unless we get a new character skin and we get the OG Craig.
I bet you there's an Easter egg somewhere in there of Craig. Yeah. Like, come on.
Like a poster somewhere, and like down a dark alley.
Yeah, Halo has some pretty good Easter eggs. I don't know.
Have you seen this man? And it's Craig.
Yeah. So just wait for E3 for your concerns, everybody. It's going to be okay.
It's next month.
Next month, from the screenshots and from what I've been seeing, I am hyped for it. I think people shouldn't take my being hyped for it as a way to spread a thing like, oh, he's just a fan of it. I think
it's not damage
we're all
control.
Pretty fair.
It's unnecessary damage control.
Yes. Like
Right.
when I if there is something to be concerned about, I will I will be concerned about it. But this is not it. This is not it at all. So there are things I'm gonna talk about really quick that are the positive of Halo Infinite. I'm really looking forward to first off, this is like the first open sort of ended environment. They don't want to call it open world, but I'm
Open
excited.
segments, maybe.
Open segmented. I don't know.
Yeah.
Looking forward to seeing what that means for Halo. They have like a day night cycle. The night, at night you have like certain people there asleep. Maybe they're they're like the grunts are asleep or something, and then you have like jackals light up at night, and like luminescent whales. They were saying you have like different creatures, and they do different things to change the night environments. It has like certain weather. Let's just that stuff I'm excited to see.
You think that they'll bring back the night vision of the sniper?
Oh, they should. They really should.
Dude, I can't imagine how
that was in the first one. I didn't remember. I don't think I ever remembered night vision in 2, 3, or 4, 5.
It might have been in Reach. Unless I
don't remember. We'll have to play, but I know in ODST there was, but that was the character itself.
Yeah, that was like.
I got more for you here, bro. Like, okay, so if you watch the gameplay demo, you'll notice that the Warthog's headlights shine on a rock as it's passing by. I can't wait to see that Warthog at night with the light shining.
Oh my god!
Oh, dude, and also like the chief has always had a flashlight on his guns, on his head, right? He turns them on and off.
I think even some of the trailers he has.
So I can't wait for that too, man. That day night cycle. Oh, dude, you're so on point with that. I can't.
Oh my god!
In an open environment, just randomly to see the day night cycle. Oh, okay, keep going 3-bit. What else, dude? Come on, you got me pumped.
So I'm also looking forward to, like, yes, seeing like the different creatures that we've seen in the trailers. Like we know there's going to be like different creatures walking around the place. I seen this screenshot the other day. It was just like a fan thing, but like I'm thinking we're going to be fighting some just like freaking huge bosses or something like that. We'll see. The Flood is on this ring, so the Flood most likely will be in this game. Right,
God. I
this
can't
is
wait.
Different things they have not released like we haven't even seen like a fraction of what's in this game.
They're just a snippet.
They're giving us little tic tacs.
The entire ring, and they show us that much.
They haven't even shown us multiplayer. Like they showed us some pictures and stuff.
Yes.
And some people just love the multiplayer in itself. Like, so there's a lot of stuff we don't know. So just to be worried about it, just wait till E3, and when you see that trailer hit, I don't want to hear nothing, because I know people are gonna be they're gonna be really excited when that trailer comes out, because there's a lot of stuff we don't know with what's going on with Halo Infinite. And I think I'm excited to see the story. So now we're just talking about the positives, right?
Yeah,
I'm excited to see like the relationship between the pilot, because I think what was missing in Halo 5 was like Master Chief. If he when he was like talking with Cortana, like that was a relationship there, but he also had relationships with like Sergeant Johnson and like Miranda Keyes and stuff, and that was a part of the Halo franchise too. Those people died. So then we just got Cortana, and now Cortana's evil. So we definitely need that other character to sort of ground the chief. And it's based on what Joseph Satan has been saying. It looks like the pilot can be that and ground the story a little bit. So I'm excited to see that. What about you guys?
Hey, we'll let Psycho go now. This is how we'll probably wrap up, right? Let's give each a couple of our positive of things we're looking forward to with Halo Infinite, and then we'll say our goodbyes. Psychonauts, let's get yours, man.
I'm excited to be able to now traverse through the ring to different, like how much are we able to traverse? If we can traverse the entire ring, that is massive.
I have a feeling that's not the only location though, too. I have a feeling
It-
that
this is part of the story.
yeah,
This is part of the story, and then it's going to go somewhere else where we just don't know. Like maybe where the the flood was originated from. Maybe, and that's where what is it? Uh Gravemind,
Mhm.
right? Maybe that's where he's at.
Oh man.
The story is where this can go. It's going to be epic, and that's why I think that's why they have a 10-year uh
plan. They
plan
could
for
because they could
this.
do it like Metal Gear 5 where you're in the desert for a bit, but then you have like the jungle and other environments like later on as you
Mhm.
play the game. So
Yeah, who knows? Like maybe they have like different sections of the ring open up throughout the lifetime of the map. We just don't know what. But I'm just excited for like bring how they brought back the old aesthetic look and feel of the original Halo, and the music score sounds more like the original Halos. Like everything is like they're going back to the old where it all began to finish the story. That's what I
Yeah.
feel that they're trying to do with this, and that's what got. There's just so much about this with Halo Infinite that has me excited, and I can't wait for E3 because I know they're going to be talking about a lot. They're going to be, and we finally, hopefully, will get a glimpse at what multiplayer is going to be, what they have in store for that, and possibly drop, maybe even shadow drop the demo that during E3.
Yep.
I mean, that just has
get
me
a whole
excited.
year of content or a whole year of polishing it is rare.
Yes.
It's very rare. Me, Mav, and some others was on the Four Guys quarters, and we interviewed Master Chief, and they were voicing lines still. They were doing some other stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering what. Yeah, I don't know what they were doing there.
Yeah, he has just said
Yeah.
they just did a couple weeks before that done like he thinks what was his last lines, right? Which was like crazy to me. Like it's like wow, really? That's like crazy, awesome information, you know?
Yeah. Who knows what that was?
Yeah. There's probably more. I mean, if they're gonna do DLC or however they're gonna drop additional content, there's probably gonna be more. But for the main portion of the game, the story is done. The head of 343 that he used, he came over. He
Joe
loved
Staten.
it, and he was like, "Okay, there's nothing wrong with the story. Let's just polish the game, finish working on upgrading the engine." Like what even Eric Lynn was saying, he's like they were upgrading the engine as I was leaving, and it was looking. He's like it looked. There's nothing to be worried about. He's like it looks great, and he's like it's a brand new engine. They're gonna keep. He's like they're probably gonna upgrade the engine all the way up to the launch. I mean, even Unreal Engine 4 that's been out for decades. He's like, there's still updates. So engines always get updates. So there's nothing to worry about. And I'm just excited for what we're going to be shown here in a couple of weeks because it just gives me goosebumps. I'm just that excited. But I'm a passionate fan, so
Yeah.
All right, Mav. What you
All right.
got?
I'm excited for the Banished because we've seen the Banished in Halo Wars. We haven't seen them in a first-person shooter Halo game.
Or we haven't seen 343 do brutes before. This is their
Exactly.
first time.
So the Banished to me is like Covenant 2.0. It's a split off from the Covenant. Atriox was a split off from the Covenant. He formed the Banished. It's more of a radicalized group, right? The Flood made it. No, spoiler alert, guys. Flood made an appearance. Halo Wars 2. That's coming back. There's ties between what happened between the Banished and the Flood in Halo Wars 2. I am excited for where that's going with potentially this story, because we know that the Banished are involved with all the toys that were leaked, with the trailer that came out. We know something happened to Atriox. We don't know exactly what. I mean, there's so much going here that leads the story in the, not just because of story purposes for me, because I think the Prometheans actually fit well in a story, but they're not fun to fight. You lose that almost like personality. You lose that personality that the Covenant has when they are talking, and the little chatter, and they have personalities, and it's like it makes the fighting more it has more weight, right? It has like it's more important, like you're fighting in a war against actual people, even though they're not people, they're like aliens, right? But it just makes it more important. When we're fighting Prometheans, they come across as like emotionless.
Covenant was like afraid
robots.
of the Banished.
Right.
They were like, they tried to kill Atriox multiple times, and they're like, you know what, we're gonna leave you alone.
Yeah.
We can't reach you.
So it's just like I want to. The Banished is number one. I can't wait for them to be the enemy. Right, I've been waiting for a new enemy like this to be introduced in Halo ever since Halo 4, when the Prometheans became the main protagonists in the middle of the game. Then we got the other thing that I'm most excited for is the fact that they have said this is a 10-year plan. My mind, because what happens then is my mind swirls with excitement of possibilities for the future. And when I see like that, and I know that they're going to support this for long term, and that's the plan going into it, is like a long-term support, I have a lot of hope, because Halo 5 didn't get that. Right? Halo 5 kind of got it, but not like what they're talking about and what their plan is with this, right? This Halo 5 to them came across as a little bit of a mistake, and they think that they failed because of the reception of the game, because the popularity kind of waned on it a little bit. They think it was good with multiplayer, but they didn't hit all the check boxes. Bonnie Ross said that herself. And for me, I think they're going to go all in on this and be committed to it throughout the process, and really invest in more stories branching off from this over that course of 10 years, and see what Halo Infinite keeps evolving into. If you play the Master Chief Collection now, it's not the same game that was when it released, right? If you play a lot of games that are more open like this, like Destiny, you know, I'm not saying this is Destiny clone or anything like that, but if you play Destiny 2 is, or 1, is nothing like it was when it released, right? Like,
yeah,
it's the possibilities of this are huge with what Halo's going to evolve into. And the other thing is the hitting so many platforms day one with the ease of access into the world of Halo now, with Game Pass, xCloud, Steam, you know, Xbox Store and PC. This release for Halo, you know, I hear my daughter going ham in there. Yeah.
Again.
Yeah, she goes crazy on the weekends. The release for this is going to be played day one more than any Halo in history.
Yeah, they're opening it up.
And
so I'm excited for new people to jump into Halo, and like it's now free to play. So seeing new people jump into that, and people have to think about MLG was founded on Halo.
Yeah,
there's just so many things Halo like started. Basically founded Xbox Live. It was one of the first games to limit guns to you just having like 2 guns and that's it.
Dude, they invented matchmaking, bro.
Matchmaking, it's just so much. So just I grew up with that stuff, and it like introducing Halo to a whole other generation is just like it's gonna be great. Either way, I'm excited for that in itself. Yeah.
at some point when things kind of ride a wave, right? Halo had hit a pinnacle with Halo 3, and then it lost a little bit of its luster, and it's been kind of going down. It had been going down, and it lost its cool card for a while, right, with a lot of people. But sometimes what's old becomes new again, right?
Yeah.
And popular again. And I feel that wave rising with Halo again right now, and it's like it's a feeling of positivity that. And that's why I got so upset and was going crazy on Twitter and making that video yesterday when there's like an attack on that, because there was nothing there to attack it. Like, that was tangible, right? It's like, if there's something real, give it to me. And let's talk about it, because I'm curious about that too. But when it's not real, then it's just like, you're just like I said, you're trying to shit in our Cheerios right now. It's just like, let's not do that, right? Like, let's just enjoy something, you know? And that's the direction it's going right now, I think. And I think hopefully with this video, that it reaches enough people that the people that were influenced yesterday from some of that other craziness, it doesn't affect their decision too much. And then the other thing that is good with this is, because of the ease of access and stuff, people are going to get to try it for themselves and not have to worry about the reviews or like what people are saying, or like negativity from like whatever happens with this other book that comes out or whatever. I think people are going to get to try it for themselves and get to see for themselves and make their own decision. So I think that's becoming more of the place that we live in, right? As opposed to, as necessarily the outside influences don't have as big of an impact as they used to, right? So we'll see how that plays into the Halo Infinite release. It's gonna be the biggest Halo release ever of all time, and I'm excited for that, dude.
Yeah, good points, man. All right, let's close it out.
Yeah. So guys, hey, we'll do a quick shout out at 3-Bit. Where can everybody find you, bro?
Everybody can find me on Twitter. It's the VGHD, stands for the Video Games HD. My YouTube channel is the Video Games HD, and I'm on several shows. I'm on Xbox Ultimate every Friday with these two awesome dudes, and Fun Pop also with these two awesome dudes on Thursdays. I'm on Xbox Factor with Mr. Boomstick at 12 o'clock earlier on Thursday. And that's pretty much where you guys can find me. I know I'm forgetting some other shows. That's okay. That's where you guys can find me.
And right on, dude. Psychonauts, dude. Where can everybody find you, man?
Yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter, Xbox Live, and Twitch at Psychonauts8. And I started a YouTube channel called Gamer Chat Podcast. Gamer Chat's one word on YouTube. Go find me there. And Thursdays, 10:30 Fun Pop, 9 o'clock Xbox Ultimate on the Fun Speculation channel on YouTube. And I'm always gaming, so hit me up and we can talk, chat, and play some games or whatever. What about you, Mev? Where can people find you?
Well, everybody, you can find me right here on Fun Speculation YouTube channel, where Thursday nights we have Fun Pop Podcast at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. I appreciate you guys tuning into that. We have fun. We have talk about movies, TV shows, comics, and more. We also have Xbox Ultimate Podcast. It's Friday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern. We have a great time with the Magnificent Seven is the panel. We have an amazing group that loves to talk about all things Xbox and have some fun. I appreciate you guys checking that out. It's kind of like our biggest show. It's like the thing that we started first, and we have an amazing time with that. So please check that out, guys. You can also listen to both podcasts, Fun Pop and Xbox Ultimate, on Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, and more. As well as you can check me out as a panel member on 4GQ TV on Thursdays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Again, that's 4GQ TV. You can find it on YouTube, 4 Guys with Quarters. I appreciate all of you. Thank you, and have a great day. Halo rocks. Relax. All right,
bye, everybody.
Take it
Bye,
easy.
guys.
Bye.